I just want to say a few things, and it's nothing new. Nothing I ever say is new. This is such a non-linear path, awakening and supporting people in their own journeys to just coming home and not avoiding what life is living through their form, through their mind, through their heart, through their body, through their nervous system, through their community, through their country. Like waking up to all of it that's out of our control, like as if there were anyone in control. It's so interesting that we often start off in this journey for many folks of like an explosion out of a certain kind of contraction that feels relieving because it's been so contracted for so long and there was never really an awareness of anything different. And that radical shift from tight suffering, trying to be something and not even understanding what that something is, and trying to understand that like what it wants isn't actually what it wants or what actually feels fulfilling. That like sometimes that initial wake up call is very cathartic, but there's an expectation that catharsis and cracking of a shell is the state that we end up in. And someone said recently to me, like, the end of your suffering, that book title is really sounds great about the book. And it is. When the mind can think back to how life was before there was any freedom to just be, there was so much more heaviness and loneliness and desperation and true out of control in a very dysregulated way, because there was so much striving for control that inevitably that seesaw coming back into just the wild wilderness of humanity and life. So certainly the end of your suffering is on a relative level true. And the mind can, or even the heart, the nervous system can kind of grasp for what that means in the long term. That it is comfortable and easy and breezy. That maybe everything outside is still crazy, but I'm okay, and people approve of me more and feel more fulfilled, and I feel less pain in the body. And yeah, the end of your suffering sounds great. Nobody really talks about how hard it is to be a human. Like, we compare ourselves to animals, non-human animals who, like, yeah, they're liberated. They don't have this self-reflective capacity to believe that they're anything other than the body running in the field and digging in the dirt and rolling in the sun and getting a snack and catching its dinner, whatever. That's domesticated terms, but animals deal with other animals. Non-human animals don't deal with human societies. Well, they do, but in a much simpler way, not easier by any means because of extinction and our population demolishing so much, in the same way as what are those bugs that termites, yeah, that seemingly weren't caught in our home inspection when we moved. So yeah, humans. Human relationships, as you can clearly see in our climate right now, are very complex and are full of very unpredictable forms of delusion and conditioning and unconsciousness. The power of the human mind is like a solar system. It's incredibly powerful in conscious states as well as unconscious states. It's incredibly powerful at creating suffering and rejecting truth. And creating paradox. That we would raise someone like Jesus Christ up to this figurehead status in our world, and nothing has changed in the sense of how he was persecuted. The truth is still persecuted. How paradoxical, how unpredictable, and what a mystery. So the end of your suffering doesn't mean the beginning of your comfort and leisure. Doesn't begin to touch on what comes next. Doesn't mean that you'll belong to those systems or human communities that you were rejected by before. Maybe that there would be even more rejection or pain. What is it worth? Why go through all the disorientation and the doubt and the seeking of ending suffering when the absence of suffering doesn't sound so desirable? I don't know the answer why. But it does seem that it's happening. That awakeness is awakening more and more. And it's not up to any individual, and it's not leading to any specific. But that abundance is a quality of the loving nature of this world And whether it's an abundance of fear or an abundance of trust, life is continuing to expand. And it will never end, from what I can tell. What do I know? I don't really know. But that's the truth of what's experienced here, is there's no end. That the carrot is gone. Okay, no more suffering. Great. Now what? And that's the diving into the mystery and the miracle of just this. It doesn't need a carrot anymore. And it realizes that it never did.